right, so you're thinking about getting into kayak fishing, huh? And you've heard some buzz about this Seastream Backwater Kayak, right?
Seems like a popular choice.
Yeah, well, today we're going to deep dive into all their marketing materials, see if this kayak really lives up to the hype, especially for anglers like you.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so right off the bat, they're talking about this unique pontoon-style hull, saying it delivers a super stable and stealthy ride. Perfect for sneaking up on those fish.
Definitely a clever approach. I mean, anglers are always looking for an edge, right? Being able to get into those hard-to-reach fishing spots without spooking the fish, that's the dream.
Yeah, exactly. Like, picture yourself just gliding silently through those tranquil backwaters.
Oh, yeah, I can see it now, like a ninja on the water.
And they claim this pontoon hull design also makes for a shallow draft, meaning you can get into those super shallow areas that other kayaks just can't reach.
Yeah, that makes sense. The draft is definitely something to consider. If you're fishing in shallow waters, you don't want to be constantly running aground.
And speaking of comfort, they're really pushing the comfort factor, too, with this kayak. Go on and on about this padded seat and adjustable backrest. Almost sounds like they're describing a fishing throne.
Well, hey, a comfortable seat can make a huge difference, especially if you're spending hours out on the water battling those big fish.
Yeah, for real. And they even mention the cockpit being oversized for easy entry and exit. They also say it'll offer protection from the elements.
Interesting. Makes you wonder if they're targeting year-round use, not just fair weather fishing.
Right, because who wants to be stuck inside when the fishing is good?
Exactly. Got to be prepared for all conditions.
And get this. They've also packed this kayak with a ton of fishing-specific features, like rod holders, a spacious stern tank well for gear, even a dedicated tackle tray area.
Wow, sounds like they're going for a complete fishing platform here, not just a basic kayak.
Yeah, it's decked out. They even include rod leashes to prevent accidental loss and multiple rod holders.
Okay, but are those features truly innovative, or are they just standard fare on fishing kayaks these days?
That's a good question. We'll have to dig a little deeper and compare it to some other options out there.
Yeah, because we need to see if they're offering genuine value or just repackaging common features with fancy marketing terms.
Totally agree. And they're not shy about boasting about durability either. Mentioning rugged polyethylene construction and an integrated keel guard makes you think this kayak can really take a beating.
Yeah, especially if you're navigating those shallow backwaters. You're bound to bump into a few rocks and logs along the way.
Exactly. And yet they still emphasize how lightweight this kayak is at only 60 pounds.
Wow, that's pretty impressive, especially for portability. I mean, you could easily load that onto your car solo.
Right. And that opens up a lot more possibilities for getting to those remote fishing spots.
No doubt about it. But does that lightweight design mean they had to sacrifice some ruggedness?
That's the question. We've got stability, comfort fishing features, durability, and portability. It's a lot to consider.
It is. What stands out to you so far?
Well, I'm really intrigued by this pontoon-style hull and its implications for stability and stealth. But I'm also wondering how all these features come together. Do they create a truly seamless fishing experience, or is it just a bunch of individual features slapped together?
Yeah, that's the key. We need to see if the substance matches the hype. And to do that, we got to move on to the specs and see how this backwater measures up against the competition.
You got it. Let's dive into those numbers and see what's really going on.
All right, so let's break down these specs. They're saying it's 12 feet long, which seems pretty standard for a fishing kayak, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. But will that be enough for decent tracking? You know, especially when you're paddling in those open waters?
That's a good point. You don't want to be zigzagging all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then they're talking about the width. They say it's 29 inches wide, which they claim makes it super stable, even for stand-up fishing.
Okay, but honestly, I've been in some pretty tippy kayaks. Is that width really enough for me to feel confident standing up and casting a line?
Right, because, losing your balance and taking a dip in the water, that's not exactly ideal.
Definitely not. And that's where the wider hull comes into play. It affects both primary and secondary stability. Primary stability is how tippy the kayak feels when it's sitting flat. And then secondary stability is all about how stable it feels when it's tilted, like when you're leaning over to fight a fish.
So it's like 2 levels of stability.
Exactly. And a wider hull generally improves both, but it can also mean you might sacrifice some maneuverability, especially in those tight, weedy spots.
I see. So there's always a trade-off.
Yeah, there's always something to consider.
Okay, so then they're bragging about this 500-pound weight capacity, which seems like a lot.
Yeah, that's a hefty amount. I mean, think about it. You've got your tackle, maybe a cooler, some extra clothes, and hopefully a big catch or two. That weight capacity gives you peace of mind knowing you're not going to overload the kayak.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if you're planning on spending a full day out on the water.
Yeah, exactly. And they keep emphasizing how lightweight it is. Only 60 pounds.
Yeah. Which is pretty amazing when you think about carrying it down to the water.
Right. Exactly. Especially if you're going solo. You don't want to be breaking your back just to get to your fishing spot.
Yeah. And they're really hitting on this portability aspect.
It seems like they're targeting anglers who want to get to those hard-to-reach spots, but also want a comfortable and well-equipped fishing platform.
Okay, so we've talked about the design, the features, the specs. It's shaping up to be a pretty impressive package.
It is. But now the big question, how does the Backwater stack up against other kayaks in its price range?
Yeah, because maybe some of these features are standard on similarly priced kayaks.
Right. Or maybe they had to cut corners in other areas to offer all these bells and whistles. It's all about finding that sweet spot, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So what do we need to look for to make sure we're getting a good value?
Well, we need to consider the overall build quality, the materials they used, the reputation of the brand. You know, it's easy to get drawn in by all the fancy features, but a smart angler looks beyond the surface.
So we're talking about doing some research, reading reviews from other anglers.
Exactly. We need to see what real-world experience tells us.
Okay, so for our listeners out there, what should they be thinking about when considering the Backwater?
Well, if you're looking for a kayak that's specifically designed for fishing, and you prioritize stability, comfort, and portability, then the Seastream Backwater is definitely worth a closer look.
Okay, so definitely do your research. Compare it to other kayaks in its price range.
Yeah.
Read those reviews. And most importantly, think about your specific needs and fishing style.
Exactly. Figure out what's going to work best for you. And if you're in the Detroit area and you're thinking, hey, I want to try this thing out before I commit, well, we've got a great resource for you.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the Motor City Paddle Club.
Exactly. They offer a wide variety of kayaks for rent, and they can help you find the perfect fit.
Yeah, they're awesome. You can check out their website at www.motorcitypaddleclub.com or give them a call at 313-765-2925. They're super knowledgeable about kayaking, and they'll make sure you have a great experience.
So go ahead, give them a shout, and test out some different kayaks. See what feels right for you.
All right, so we've been deep diving into the Seastream Backwater, focusing on all its fishing features. But what if someone's interested in using a kayak for more than just fishing?
Yeah. That's a great question. You know, like, what if someone's into photography or bird watching?
Right. Like, would those fishing-specific features get in the way?
Yeah, that's something to think about. I mean, a stable platform is still important for those activities.
Right.
But you might not need all those rod holders and tackle trays.
Exactly. And those flush-mounted rod holders could be a real pain if you're trying to maneuver in tight spaces.
Yeah.
You know, to get that perfect shot.
Yeah, for sure. And the storage, while it's spacious, might not be ideal for a photographer's delicate equipment or a birdwatcher's spotting scope and tripod.
Right. It's all about having the right setup for your specific needs.
Exactly. And for bird watching, you might want a kayak with a higher seating position for better visibility, or a wider, flatter deck for mounting a tripod.
You know, those features aren't really highlighted in the Backwater's marketing.
Yeah.
But that makes sense, given their target audience.
Yeah, they're definitely going after the fishing crowd.
So it seems like the Backwater is a solid choice for anglers.
Yeah.
But it's also a good reminder that there's no one-size-fits-all kayak.
Exactly. You really need to consider your individual needs and how you plan to use it.
And if you're feeling overwhelmed by all the choices, don't worry. The Motor City Paddle Club is here to help.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They've got a wide range of kayaks to choose from fishing-specific models to recreational kayaks that are perfect for exploring and photography.
Right. And their team can help you find the kayak that's perfect for you.
It's like having a personal kayak shopping assistant.
Exactly. So if you're in the Detroit area, be sure to check them out. Their website is www.motorcitypaddleclub.com. Or you can give them a call at 313-765-2925.
They'll hook you up with the right gear and get you out on the water in no time.
So the key takeaway here is to be mindful of your intended use. Prioritize features that align with your kayaking goals. And don't get swept away by marketing hype.
Well said. Do your research, explore your options, and choose a kayak that's going to enhance your experience on the water.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about the Seastream Backwater and whether it lives up to the hype for anglers like you.
We've covered a lot, looking at its design features, specs, and even how it compares to other kayaks in its price range.
And we've also touched on the importance of choosing the right kayak for your specific needs. and how resources like the Motor City Paddle Club can help you make that decision.
Yeah, so hopefully this deep dive has given you some valuable insights as you continue your kayak search.
Absolutely. And if you're still on the fence about the backwater, or any other kayak for that matter, don't hesitate to reach out to us.
We're always happy to answer your questions and help you find the perfect kayak for your next adventure.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive, but be sure to tune in next time for another exciting exploration of the world of kayaking.
Until then, happy paddling.